Can we actually talk about the performative outrage happening on TikTok and Twitter right now over RM and J-Hope attending a Chris Brown concert? Because before anybody hears this and immediately starts typing, "So you're a Chris Brown defender?" No. Let me make that very clear. I do not support Chris Brown's history of violence, and I did not support RM and J-Hope attending this concert. I can criticize their decision without suddenly pretending BTS invented Chris Brown's music in 2026. And that's where my issue with some of this outrage begins. If you're disappointed in RM and J-Hope, that's completely fair. You're allowed to feel that way. You're allowed to say, "I don't think they should have gone." What I don't understand is the selective outrage from some people who seem to have discovered this issue specifically because two BTS members were involved. Because I've been looking through some of these outrage accounts, and I'm asking a very simple question. Where was this energy before? Where were the posts talking about domestic violence? Where were the discussions about supporting victims? Where were the videos criticizing other celebrities and idols for interacting with Chris Brown or using his music? Because this isn't something that suddenly started happening because RM and J-Hope walked into a concert. Chris Brown has been part of the mainstream music industry for years. Millions of people have listened to him, bought his music, attended his concerts, and interacted with his work. And the K-pop industry is not exactly unfamiliar with his music either. And before somebody says, "Well, they're just dancing to the songs," okay, then let's be consistent. Because I actually found a compilation showing just how many K-pop idols have interacted with Chris Brown's music or spoken about him over the years. For example, Wonbin from RIIZ has reportedly spoken about Chris Brown as a role model and expressed interest in collaborating with him. ENHYPEN have danced to turn up the music on their official channels. Blackpink have performed or interacted with Chris Brown's music, and Lisa has also used his music in solo dance content. TXT members Subin and Taeyoon have spoken positively about Chris Brown's talent after attending one of his concerts. Former ENHYPEN member Heesung released an official vocal cover of With You. Stray Kids, Han, Bang Chan, and Hyunjin have also been heard singing Chris Brown songs during live streams, and Bang Chan has shared Chris Brown tracks through his music recommendations. aespa's Karina and Giselle have participated in dance challenges using Chris Brown songs. Twice's Momo has also danced to his music in practice content. Big Bang's Taeyang and G-Dragon have publicly listened to or performed Chris Brown songs. ATEEZ's Wooyoung has also shared Chris Brown's Till the Wheels Fall Off on social media. GET7's Yugyeom has expressed admiration for Chris Brown as well. P1 Harmony and 17's Dino have released official dance covers using Chris Brown songs. And EXO's Kai has also used Chris Brown's music in dance practice content. Now, I'm not bringing up all these examples to say, "Look, everybody else did it, so RM and J-Hope get a free pass." That's not my argument. If you believe RM and J-Hope deserve criticism for attending that concert, fine. But then you need to be intellectually consistent about what you're criticizing. Because if the problem is specifically associating with Chris Brown, then surely these other examples deserve at least a conversation too. And no, I'm not saying every idol who has ever danced to one of his songs is equally responsible. There's obviously a difference between someone casually using a song in a dance challenge and somebody publicly calling an artist their role model. There is also a difference between attending a concert and promoting an artist. Those distinctions matter. But that's exactly why this conversation needs nuance instead of TikTok turning everything into BTS did something bad, therefore BTS are evil. Because that's not accountability. That's a hate campaign wearing a little activism costume. And then things somehow got even more ridiculous when people started talking about creating a black ocean at BTS concerts. Seriously? You're going to sabotage a BTS concert because RM and J-Hope attended a concert? How exactly does that help victims of domestic violence? It doesn't. It doesn't provide resources. It doesn't support survivors. It doesn't change Chris Brown's career. It doesn't stop people from listening to his music. It doesn't even address the bigger question of why Chris Brown is still able to sell out concerts and maintain such a massive career. And that's actually a conversation worth having. Because if everyone is supposedly so outraged, then why is the anger being directed primarily at two people who attended a concert rather than at the broader entertainment industry that continues to platform him? And I've also seen people throwing around incredibly serious insults and even threats toward BTS because of this. Let's not lose our minds. You can criticize somebody without acting like they personally committed the crime you're angry about. Attending a concert doesn't automatically mean you endorse every single thing the performer has ever done. And yes, you can absolutely argue that celebrities should be more careful about who they publicly associate with. That's a completely reasonable criticism. But saying, I don't agree with their decision, is very different from sending hate or making threats. And then, of course, we get the inevitable. If a female idol did this, please. I am so tired of everything turning into a gender war debate. Yes, K-pop absolutely has double standards when it comes to male and female idols. Call that out. But if you're going to bring up that argument, then actually apply the same standard to everyone. Because in the past 24 hours alone, I've seen people bring up female idols who have also interacted with Chris Brown's music, praised male R&B artists, or publicly spoken positively about artists who have their own controversies. So where was the same outrage then? And this is why I don't think everything is about protecting women or holding men accountable. Sometimes it's just fandom tribalism. Sometimes people genuinely dislike BTS and are looking for another reason to attack them. And let's be honest, some people absolutely love a BTS scandal. They'll turn a 5-minute concert appearance into a 45-part TikTok series with dramatic music, screenshots, zoom-ins, red circles, and approximately 17 crying emojis. At some point, we need to breathe. I am not telling anyone to forgive Chris Brown. I'm not telling anyone to support him. I'm not telling anyone that RM and J-Hope made the right decision. Personally, I don't support their decision either. But I also don't think I'm going to unstand BTS over it. Those things can coexist. You can be a fan and still say, I think you messed up. You can criticize your favorite artists. You can acknowledge harmful behavior without pretending every person associated with that artist is automatically guilty of the same thing. And most importantly, you can have standards without changing those standards depending on which fandom is involved. So if you want to criticize RM and J-Hope, criticize them. Ask questions. Discuss whether celebrities should publicly associate with controversial artists. Talk about Chris Brown's history. Talk about the victims. Talk about the entertainment industry's willingness to continue giving controversial artists massive platforms. Those are all conversations worth having. But if your activism only appears when BTS is trending and disappears when literally anyone else does something similar, then I'm sorry. That's not accountability. That's selective outrage. And if we're going to call people out, let's at least have the courage to call everyone out. Because otherwise, we're not actually having a conversation about accountability. We're just picking our favorite target of the day.